Hey everybody, so the other day when I was doing the book review on Impulse, I pulled up some links and I discovered that one of the links was discussion questions, and it just made me think that what if I could find some book discussion questions for books that I've read in the future and try to put discussion questions up with my answers. So before I get started on the discussion questions, I'll go ahead and read the about the book that it has on here. It says Connor, Vanessa, and Tony are all three landed in Aspen Springs, a psychiatric hospital. Connor has the seemingly perfect life. He is handsome, rich, and he is a star athlete and excels in academics. Despite having everything most teens would die for, Connor is at constant odds with his mother. She is cold, concerned with image and perfection, and forever critical. Connor is unable to cope with her criticism and his feelings of inadequacy. Vanessa is a copper-haired beauty, but like her mother, is manic-depressive. Her father, a soldier, is both physically and emotionally absent, leaving Vanessa's grandmother to raise her. Dumped by a boyfriend who can no longer deal with her mood swings and haunted by feelings of guilt for not calling 911 when her mother overdosed on Xanax, Vanessa finds relief in cutting. Tony is angry with his father for leaving him to grow up in poverty with his mother, a prostitute who exposes him to men who sexually abuse him. Tony finds a friend an older man, Philip, who dies shortly after they meet. When Tony meets Vanessa, he begins questioning his gay identity. Desperate to end the emotional pain, all three attempt suicide. Connor grabs a gun, Vanessa slashes her wrist, and Tony downs a bottle of pills. Having survived their suicide attempts, all three must confront their own demons if they are to emerge mentally stable. Forging new friendships and participating in therapy, sometimes with family members, provides a good structure and will all three have the strength to step beyond their past. A wilderness challenge tests their ability to work as a team to confront life experiences. So there was a pre-reading activity, but I didn't know about this before the book. So it just says, talk about a time where you acted on impulse. Did you make a good decision? What regrets, if any, did you have? I can still answer this. It's actually a really good question, though. There's a lot of times I act on impulse. It's like the majority highlight of my life. And I make some good decisions and some bad decisions. I think one of the biggest ones I did was I decided to go find my mother because I wanted my mom. I was 12 years old. It was an impulse decision to go walk down the road in the middle of the night to her work, and it definitely was not a good decision. So, next question is, describe a time which you thought about acting on impulse, but then held back. What made you pause? Did you make the right decision by waiting? Explain. Actually, I can't think of a time that I thought about it and didn't do it. I think the best thing I can think about is, I've thought about going on trips before, and I held back on it. And sometimes I regret them. Sometimes turns out that something bad would have happened anyways. And the next question is, why are impulses difficult to control? And in my opinion, anyways, this is just like a broad question, and I think it's for the person themselves to answer. But I think they're difficult to control because they are impulses, they're urges. They feed at you, they like eat at you until you just like feed or give in to them or completely resist them, and they just go away. Some people find it easier to fight off their impulses than others. Alright, and now for the discussion questions. Connor, Vanessa, and Tony have different life experiences. What brings each to Aspen Springs? How are the three alike? How are they different? Well, Connor was put in the hospital because he tried to shoot himself in the heart, and he did it under the pretense, like, he openly thought that he had a problem with his lover, but he didn't. Vanessa was a cutter, and she had urges to cut, and I think later on you find out that it's triggered from the fact that she knew that her mother was dying on an overdose of pills, and instead of calling 911, she just left and let her grandmother find the body later, because in her mindset at the time she thought that her mother would be better off that way. And Tony overdosed. Well, he almost did. A cop found him and turned him in. But all three of them are very different because, well, Connor had a very, very privileged life, but his parents were more or less robots. They did what they felt like they were supposed to do. They just lived life in a set way, and he was always pushed to be perfect. Vanessa had a normal family life somewhat. She had an army father, a manic depressive mother, so it wasn't totally normal. It was average, though. So, and then Tony had a really bad life. He had a prostitute grandmother, an absentee father, and somehow they made their friendships work, though. Next question. Connor and Vanessa and Tony have unique relationships with their parents. Describe each relationship each has with her mother. I think I kind of brushed this in the previous question, but I'll go ahead and go through it again. Connor's parents push him to be perfect. They think that everything he does has to be 100% or it's just not good enough. So then there's Vanessa's parents. Her dad's in the military. He's always gone. And her mom killed herself a couple years back. And then there's Tony, who had an absentee father who, upon learning that he OD'd and was put into a mental hospital, was trying to make things right and rebuild a relationship with him. And then there was his prostitute mother, who got killed by one of her boyfriends in previous years before that. Next question. Both Connor and Tony are angry. Connor is angry with his mother, and Tony is angry with his father. What accounts their rage? How does each man deal with the anger differently? Again, I think these are brushed in previous questions, but I will go ahead and go through this again. Connor is angry because he feels like no matter what he does, it's just not good enough. And he feels like he can't be the person that everybody wants him to be. So it just frustrates him. But rather than talking about it and getting it out of his system or even confronting the people that are involved, he chooses to hold it in and seclude himself from everybody. Tony and his father, he's like, you know what, I don't trust you. I don't, you weren't there when I needed you. Why weren't you there? And he actually confronted his father, and it helped their relationship a little bit. Not much. I mean, it's going to be a ongoing process, but it did help that he was spot on with his confrontation. Next question. Vanessa shows more depression than rage and finds release in cutting herself. How does cutting help Vanessa feel better? I think it's because she can't understand the pain that she's feeling inside, and the only way that she can do it is to feel actual physical pain, because she understands physical pain. She can't understand the mental pain and the hurt. Next question. Discuss Connor's relationship with Emily. Why is Connor so devastated over the loss of this relationship? What might the loss have to do with Connor's relationship with his own mother. So Emily was Connor's English teacher, and they had an affair. And I feel like the reason that he went for somebody older is because he liked the fact that she praised him, and he's not used to praises. And you find out later that he had an experience that he suppressed, and he's used to praise being in a weird, not weird, but sexual way. And I think he felt at loss because the one person who actually, like the one adult figure that actually accepted him and adored him, wasn't there anymore, and he was back to his cold, uncaring mother. Um, the next question is, why does Connor tell Vanessa he is poison? I think he tells her that because he feels like he is unlovable and unable to love, and he wants to protect her from that. I'm not sure. Either way, it's probably why I would if I was him. The next question is: Dr. Boston attracted to Connor, or is the attraction in Connor's imagination? Support your responses with examples. I personally think that it was just his imagination. It was his ego, but then there was part of me that thinks that maybe there was something there because Tony picked up on it, and nobody else seemed to pick up on it, but Tony did. And Tony seems to be like the very intuitive person out of everybody, and I think that's because of his street smarts. He's just kind of like seen everything and just kind of knows to observe people. Next question. Describe Tony's relationship with Philip. Why is Philip special to Tony? Might Tony's relationship with Philip be different if Tony had been close to his father growing up? Explain. I think Philip's relationship with Tony was very father-son. Tony was homeless, and he took him off the streets and let him stay with him, and gave him food, clothing, shelter, all that, like a father would do, because he cared, and there was nothing perverse about it. It's just as simple as that. And to be honest, if he was still close with his father, I don't think he would even been in the predicament he was in to have met Philip. So no, I don't think it would have been the same. So, next question. Vanessa learns that she loves both Connor and Tony, but her love is different for each. Explain. Alright. She loves Connor, but it's kind of more physical. It's like a physical pull. She's very attracted to him. She yearns for him. But, with her connection with Tony, they are connected. And they have like a just understanding of each other where it's hard to explain, but it's deeper than physical. It's physical too, but it's deeper than that. Next question. Which stands in the way of Connor's ability to heal? Why is his path to recovery more difficult than Tony's or Vanessa's? I think his path is more difficult to recover from because he realizes that once he gets out, things are going to go back to being the same that they were. Even without Emily, though. Everything's going to be the same. His mother's still going to be the same person she is. His father's going to be the same person she was. Whereas Vanessa and Tony's family has realized that they need to help adapt around them and help them out and better their relationships. Next question. All three characters search the meaning of love. What experiences has each character had that led to confusion about love? What does each learn about love? Well, Tony and Connor were both molested in some kind of way, and so they were both screwed up with love on that. And plus, with Connor, his family wasn't very loving. They were very, driven and successful oriented, and wasn't about coddling or anything like that. Vanessa basically had very detached parents. They didn't mean to be uncaring. It's just that her mother was depressed and that's all she saw. And her father just wasn't there because he was in the military. So, next question. Connor, Tony, and Vanessa participate in Wilderness Challenge. What purpose is the adventure supposed to serve in their healing process? It's supposed to give them more confidence to be able to go out in life after they get out and be better and feel better about themselves. They're supposed to be able to challenge themselves to the maximum that they can and realize that they can do it if they set their mind to it. Next question. Impulse ends with both hope and tragedy. Explain. How is this ending fitting, given how you learn and come to understand about the three central characters? I feel like it's very tragic because Connor decided rather than to finish the challenge, he wanted to throw himself off the cliff. And I've come to understand that out of all three of them, Connor was the weakest one. Not because of that, but because he was unable to confront his problems and his everything. And it was really sad to see the fact that he just, jumped. And I'm not sure how it's fitting exactly. It's fitting that they wound up staying together, and I'm not sure, but it was sad, very sad ending. And I saw it before it happened, and it still sunk me in and kind of like depressed me for a few days. It was weird. But next question. Comparing Tony and Vanessa, which character is more likely to heal and lead a productive and healthy life, and why? I don't know the answer to this question because I think Tony definitely could, but I think Vanessa could too if she stays on her meds, and I definitely think she can if they stay together and they help support each other. So I'm thinking it's both of them, but I don't know which one would lead the more productive and healthier life. A girl's most important relationship as she grows up is often said to be her father, whereas a boy's is often said to be his mother. Keeping this idea in mind, compare and contrast Vanessa's relationship with her father with that of Connor and his mother. What impact do these relationships have on the way Vanessa and Connor view their futures? He sees that his mother is very, very, very cold. And he's like, I don't see a future. I'm never going to amount to anything. Whereas Vanessa's father was like, I haven't been around a lot. And it's because I just wanted what's best for you and your mother and your brother. But I can see that wasn't good, and I want to be better for you. And it's made her realize that everything will be okay in the end. And the final question. Why is Impulse a just title for this book? I feel like it's because they all had impulses to just let it all go, and they didn't think, they just acted, and that's the whole premise behind Impulse. And it's definitely an attention-grabbing title, for sure, and it's definitely fitting for the book. Well, that was all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day.